Well, when you talk about sincerity, it is for them to implement. It is not for us to force them to implement. If they actually want the university system to continue to be in place, they have all that it takes to implement all that we have agreed upon. We cannot force the federal government. You understand? On various occasions, they had actually disappointed us. But this time around, we feel that in the interest of the children, in the interest of the university system, they should, at least for once, do what is expected of them.
Failure on the line, failure of which will lead to what?
Failure of which, of course, will go back to the trenches. On no work, no pay. Yes, we would want to say that we have never gone on any strike, that the federal government has never paid us for the period of the strike. And we do not want to begin to contemplate that the federal government will not pay us our 4-month salary. And do not also forget that in most of the agreements, when you do an agreement with government, in most cases, there is always this non-victimization clause. And I want to believe the federal government will want to do what is expected of them. The federal government will not want to violate what it has agreed upon. And I want to believe that our 4-month salary will be paid as and when they are necessary, when they are ready to pay it.
How soon should we expect the university?
But I think the union is trying to be reasonable, trying to consider the feelings of the students. Some of them who are almost losing a year without anything that is their fault, but because the government is insensitive to the plight of the administrators and the lecturers in the university. So I think the union is trying to be reasonable, trying to bend backward, that haven't received promises to address substantial part of the request that is placed before the government. Then maybe they should consider bend backward and give government the benefit of the doubt that those things they are promised, they are going to do it. So for me, I don't think it's too bad. I think it's a fair deal for now. More so when the union has given a timeline within which government should implement those things that they agreed upon. Failing which, they will have no other option but to resume the suspended strike.
The strike has started, and you also recall that when we started the strike, some demands were actually presented before the federal government. And we want to believe that, going by what the NAC of the union told us, we want to believe that so much of what we actually went to demand from the federal government have been met. And on that note, the NAC of SSANU felt it was just proper for us to suspend the strike for 2 months, believing that federal government would have implemented most of the things that we agreed upon. We cannot but say that, because no fully well the kind of government that we have in place. It is there have been a breach of trust, a breach of confidence on so many other issues in the past. And it was just proper for NAC of SSANU to give them a moratorium of 2 months to see whether the federal government will actually implement those demands on which they agreed upon. So there is nothing cosmetic about it. And we cannot but also, suspend the strike when you look at what our children are suffering, in our various homes. So in the interest of our children, in the interest of the university system, we felt we also needed to suspend the strike.
Positive one. As a matter of fact, we all know that both the public and the government are getting fatigued about the strike. Quite unfortunately, the Nigerian university system has had one strike too many this time around, and that seems to be putting us in a negative light before the public. But it's not as if these strikes are not well justified. If there are no reasons, we are not going to go on strike. But this time around, government has even made it very, very bad by trying to implement the no work, no pay, trying to wear out the unions that are demanding for their legitimate rights.